since I'm working all in green values, I'm going to look at values of green, and I have pushed the values a little. Granted, you know, I've got black fabric with green on it as my nice and darks, and I've got green fabric with yellow on it for some of my lights, so yellows and blacks are kind of the extremes. But I am kind of staying within this monochromatic, you know, one color theme. And when I have an edge, let's say in here, I've got light and I've got dark and I've got mediums, and so it's not going to be just one piece of fabric. And this is getting, you know, very kind of detailed, but I think those details really make a difference at the end. So here's what I would do. First, I look at my scraps. I've got some dark scraps, I've got light scraps. Here's a nice dark, there's something kind of medium, here's something a little lighter, but I start pulling stuff over. If I look right here, these are light and medium right in this area. I've got a little bit of black. If I slip this under, I can see how it would look. So you don't have to debate long. You just slip something under, see how it looks. You're going to like it, you're not going to like it, and then you change it or you keep it and move on. So here now, if I look at that, and don't worry, if some of the fabric will fray a little bit, we'll take care of that later. But that's nice, you know, that gives the black is a nice contrast to it. I've got some fabric here that's got some black running through it. I like that. Now as I move up here, I've got some black right here. So maybe I'll try to do something a little different right there. As I was working on all the collaging, there was that one fabric that had some red in it. It was the Aboriginal print fabric. And here's a piece of it, and I just loved whenever that came in. I know that's kind of pushing out of the green, but red and green, they're complementary colors, so you know, we're just going to let that slide by and use this as a little perky color. I cut off a strip off the bottom here, and with that strip, I'm going to tuck under and see how it looks in this area. Nearby, right here, I've got a little bit of that red, so it could pick it up a little bit or it could distract it a little bit. We'll see. So, whoops, the black now popped up there. You could put some pins in these as you work on them just so they don't pop up again on you. So there's the red. Just a little bit of red showing through, and I kind of like that. I think that looks good. Now moving up into here, now I've got mostly light colors, which means I don't have to go so dark. I can get away with maybe a medium color or something. So let's look in the scraps and stuff. That's kind of a medium. This is probably a little dark. We'll try this one right here. And see, you can use up all your odd little scraps. So it's much more interesting than just one, you know, piece of fabric underneath everything. We don't want to do that. We want to make it a little more interesting. So there you go. So that not quite so, kind of a dark medium is plenty of contrast right there. So I can leave that. I'm just going to put a little pin there and move up into this area. Now here, I would definitely be filling this space in right here first. I'm going to move up into it. Here, let's see. I'm just going to pin this in place right here so you kind of get the gist of it. So let's do this. That's not, you know, set quite yet, but let's just leave that there, and then you can see this better. Right now I've got kind of some lights and some mediums in there. And here's a scrap that I found earlier. So if I cut just some of that solid green off the bottom of it, let's slip that under. This is one place where I tend to use a little more solid colored fabrics as opposed to something with a lot of color change in it. Like I wouldn't use this fabric right here underneath. It would be too confusing with all the light and dark. It would look kind of striped, like it was light and dark striped if I were to do that. So now I'm just going to lift up all these edges, tuck them under, and I can see how that would look. So that doesn't look too bad. It looks, it shows up as kind of a dark, whoops, hold on. There we go. It shows up as a dark underneath there. It kind of blends a little bit with that fabric, so I'd have to decide if I liked it or not. But, you know, at this point, I could even change that fabric. I could even, you know, put something like this on it You know, does that show better or worse? I don't know. This is why I want you to fill in those spots first, because this is what's more important. It's more important to fill in the spots and then find a line that works with each of these different plates.